when you have an MOU, your MOU governs what and how you carry out activities regards to whatever project. So if you're done with, you're done with your own side of the bargain, and then you're not getting results from this other side, then that means there's a breach towards whatever agreement. See, frameworks are very important. Frameworks are put out there to help guide activities, help guide a movement towards government projects, personal projects, private projects. Is very important. So if whenever I see, I don't want to use a political word. Whenever I say outros like this on social media, on platforms, what comes to mind is, have you gone to check what guides this activity?
This is Souq business landscape. Nigeria is planning 60 plus projects to boost gas production. Nigeria has unveiled plans for more than 60 gas projects aimed at expanding domestic production, supporting industrial use, and increasing export. LPG concerns me, so I talk about it. Now, the initiative is part of the country's strategy to harness the natural gas reserve for economic growth, energy security, and foreign exchange earnings. Officials are saying that the project covers upstream development, pipeline infrastructure, gas processing, and liquefied natural gas facilities. Authorities emphasize that improving gas supply for manufacturing, power generation, and petrochemical industry will reduce reliance on expensive imports and strengthen domestic value chains. Now, analysts are also saying that the planned project could position Nigeria as a regional gas hub, attracting investment, creating jobs, and boosting industrial competitiveness. Now, however, they caution that the timely implementation, regulatory clarity, and infrastructure reliability will be critical to achieving expected production and export targets. If successful, the program could help diversify the economy while exporting and supporting energy transition and sustainable development goals. We are still in the era of the decade of gas. We are still in the era where government is spending a whole lot in pushing gas to the forefront, even though crude oil still happens to be the major earner in the economy. And gas is supposed to overtake crude oil. That has not happened yet, but we believe somewhere along the line, it will catch up.
It's our strongest transition fuel, so it should be looked into very well.
It should. Okay. Now, we are still looking at that particular investment, and gradually, we are looking at being able to pull up 60 projects between, okay, better late than never. But now let's bring this local. Let's localize it. We are still importing LPG as we speak. And we are still flaring gas as we speak. Less investment is going into that particular one. If you are in government, will you just pick out one thing and deal with it decisively, then go to the next one? Or you just,
Government is not a place where you just deal with one thing. It is all hands on deck on everything. And that is why the president has the liberty to get up to, I think the president has 44 people to handle different sector of the economy. A lot of investments, the government have been trying to attract investors in that sector. This same government have a very ambitious goal to lay pipeline all the way to Morocco to be able to feed, to export gas to Europe. So if the president has that kind of ambition, definitely he knows that he needs to ramp up gas production, optimize whatever we are producing to stop gas flaring so that we can be independent of self-sufficient of LPG and then be able to export our excess production. So is a step in the right direction. Nigeria has been very uninvestable for a very long time. So a year, 2 year of policy consistency is not enough. We need to continue to encourage the government. And we need to put more pressure on the local, the subnationals to implement the micro policies that can translate to everyday well-being and good life for everyday people. The government at the central, they are doing a lot in terms of the macro and fiscal policies. And that is what I will do if I'm in government, on hands on deck, but I'll put more pressure on the subnationals to to do more policies, more micro policies. Mass transit is very, very important. Low cost housing for everyday people. I'm not saying sell at this time. I'm looking at every state having at least 1,000 flats in every local government that they can rent directly to people, not sell. A lot of people would not be able to buy a house, but a lot of people can live in affordable housing. In all the big economies of the world, subnationals have affordable housing. Sometimes they let house at 2%, 3% of the market value to everyday people. 2%, 3%, because it's government facility. And what that does is it does not only just provide affordable housing for everyday people, it brings an equilibrium. It checks the price of corporate ownership and prices of private ownership. If government is letting out at this price, it forces the prevailing market prices down a little bit too.
Okay. While we look forward to the possibilities of that, now let's talk about power generation. If we see this particular project coming to fruition, amen, we are looking at our ability to supply gas to a lot of the power plants that some have been completed, some are still being built across the country. So that brings us to the next issue, transmission. But let them have gas in the first place. There's 2, 3 that ask the question, we are done, where is the gas?
At the end of the day, it goes back to the framework that contains timeline. I think last week we talked about timeline, how important timeline is. Yeah, when you have an MOU, your MOU governs what and how you carry out activities regards to whatever project. So if you're done with, you're done with your own side of the bargain, and then you're not getting results from this other side, then that means there's a breach towards whatever agreement. See, frameworks are very important. Frameworks are put out there to help guide activities, help guide a movement towards government projects, personal projects, private projects. Is very important. So whenever I see, I don't want to use a political word. Whenever I say outros like this on social media, on platforms, what comes to mind is, have you gone to check what guides this activity? And then have you used certainly the mediation room that you've created for your MOU? Have you exhausted it? Because a lot of times some of these discussions just come online. It's not enough just as make an announcement. Execution is very key, and in execution, it's not just to execute, it's also to do it properly according to the framework. So now they're complaining you've not done this. Have you used what areas of your MOU says that, okay, if you don't do this, if you don't get us this within this timeline, then we'll take you to this particular either to this particular court, to this particular judicial system to get results from you. You've not done that, so time is being wasted as well. So when you start having back and forth online, start having back and forth with papers and policies, so the framework matters, and that's just the area I come from. The framework matters.